It says 5'11", 215 on his Tinder profile. I don't know if it's going to be that high. We're going to see in the combine. I'm doing this video right before the combine records because I wanted to stamp my name on how good I think he's going to be before these numbers come out. I think he's going to blow it out of the water. I do. And look, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. And if these numbers are just average, I'll probably just post it in the comments on the below and give you guys a little bit more feedback there. So check the comments if you're watching this after the combine is already finished up. But I think he's going to blow it out of the water. Welcome into the draft profile for Devin Neal, running back out of Kansas. And y'all, we got another one. I got to say that tired phrase that I've been saying for all my draft profiles. Please go check it out because there's a lot of good stuff in every draft profile that I've done. But in every single one that I've done on a running back, I have mentioned at some point, it's a really good running back class this year. And guys like this might get overlooked. But guys, I think Devin Neal is going to get overlooked because this is a really good running back class. And I'm not going to lie. I got done watching him, and I got done breaking it down, and then I went back and looked at the stats, and then I looked at kind of some of the in-depth numbers that I look at when I look at running back specifically. And why did he not come out last year? I mean, last year was a bad running back class. This dude has so much juice. He's explosive. Like, there's limitations to his game, certainly. I understand that some people are going to question his top-tier athleticism, maybe. I think some people are going to question if he can hold up as a RB1. I'll say right now, I think I'm going to be higher on him than some other people. I haven't heard a ton of people talking about this dude. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry. Break it down. We're gonna hard cut in here because I'm getting ahead of myself and I'm talking about stuff that needs to be at the end of the video, at the beginning of the video. Hey, this is why I only have 1,000 subs. This is why this video doesn't have 1 million views. It's because I'm raw, all right? We're raw at this and we're getting better. But let's get into it. Let's bring the skill chart in for you guys. All right, guys, looking at the skill chart. Yeah, I mean, look, I might be a little bullish. I might be just overstating some of his elite traits. Just to break it down for you guys, on my grade, 7 and above is an elite trait for me. That's something where I do believe it is different and it is going to translate at the NFL at a high level, right? That's kind of where I break it down. And if you look at this grade, I do think we're talking about a guy whose agility and burst are going to be the two things we talk about. He is that one-cut, explosive downhill runner, but I do think like his ability to make cuts at high speed is special in my opinion. I do think he does that at a really high level. That's why I gave him that elite grade. I think his ability in space, really, really good. The amount of power and explosiveness that he generates from his lower half, his stop-start ability, really, really good. All of these things that I want to see from a high-level NFL running back, I think you see. I really do. Very, very patient runner, always willing to let his blocks develop. I think he's kind of always looking for that escape hatch because he does have the speed to turn the corner, and he's always kind of looking for that. Has a little bit of that Le'Veon Bell run style, and I know he's not as big as Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell, I've met. I went to his gym once and got to kind of talk a little bit of ball with him just for a second. It wasn't like a long conversation. I don't want to oversell by any means, but it was really cool to just hear him talk about his run style and how he kind of just he went to that line and he'd wait and then boom, because he was just so explosive. He's just that quick twitch athlete. I'm not saying he's going to be Le'Veon Bell. I'm not saying he's going to run like Le'Veon Bell, but in college, I feel like I saw enough of that to feel good about that comp as far as just that specific trait. Not calling him Le'Veon Bell. Don't hear what I'm not saying. But yeah, like his game, really like the way he runs. And look, you can do that when you do have special stop-start ability, right? When you can, I think, go from 0 to 60 really, really fast. That's kind of what I was blown away by. And looking at his burst at 7.9, I put it there for a reason. I was consistently impressed both by his initial burst. I mean, he's just shot out of a cannon. It's really, really impressive from that perspective. But again, I mentioned it earlier, his stop-start ability, his ability to stop on a dime and change direction, I think is up there with some of the best running back prospects that I've seen in this class. Looking at some of the negatives, just to kind of give you the full context of the player, power at a 4.8. Yeah, I mean, look, he doesn't run with ridiculous level of power from the NFL perspective, is kind of why that's right on the edge of a negative grade. 4.8 is a positive grade because he forced 46 missed tackles last season. He was good in college. He ran with good enough power for his size. I do think he runs through contact well. I'm not saying that he doesn't have that aspect of his game, but it's not going to be what he leans on. I mean, this is a one cut, turn the corner. I think outside zone scheme is going to fit him probably the best. I could see the 49ers really liking a guy like this. I think the Dolphins, another team, Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniels. Dolphins like a little bit faster of a guy probably, so maybe this isn't the perfect fit for the Dolphins, but teams like that are going to like guys like this. Overall, some of the things that aren't on the skill chart that are worth mentioning, obviously his size is going to be a little bit of a question mark as far as can he hold up as an RB1 in the NFL, and I think that's ultimately why he's not being talked about in maybe the range of this class that I kind of lend myself to wanting to talk about him in, as far as I do think he can be an RB1 workhorse type guy. Now, that's probably a little bit of a bold take because he's a little slender for that, and I think the expectation would be that he fits in better as a rotational type piece. But man, I don't know. They probably said something similar about Bucky Irving last year, and that was the role he had early on, and then he kind of took over the starting job. And we'll see what happens in his second and third season, but it does seem like things are pointing up for him. I could see that being the case for Devin Neal, that he does fall into that category later on in the draft, has to earn the spot and all that, which is totally fine. I expect him to. I really do. I think this is a guy that earns a starting job in the NFL by the second half of the season, maybe moving into his sophomore season. Maybe that's how it goes, depending on where he ends up and who's ahead of him on the depth chart. But I don't care. I don't think it matters really where he ends up. I think I like him most outside zone, but I think he's kind of scheme independent. I think he works fairly well. I didn't mention a whole lot about his pass catching. He didn't have a ton of pass catching snaps, but the things that he did do in space were kind of my biggest green flags, I guess I would say. I think those are the things I liked about him most. He had good hands. It wasn't overly utilized at Kansas, but I actually think that was a mistake by Kansas. They should have spent a million different ways to get this guy the ball. He should have gotten 2,000 all-purpose yards this year, just because they should have been screen. I don't know. Look, the coaches know more than I do. Maybe their offensive line just didn't have the type of athleticism that you need for the running back screen game. A lot of other variables other than just the player. But I look at the guy and I'm like, man, he fits into a spot at the NFL level that just makes so much sense to me, and I think he's going to be starring in the NFL. I really do. I'm projecting him to be a really, really good player in the NFL. I think he's a future starter. I think that is bold. I want to give you my opinion. I want to say, look, I think the overall consensus will probably be closer to committee back with high upside, and I'm saying I think he's high upside with, maybe he's just a committee back at worst. But all right, that's all I got for you guys. It's going to be really interesting to see how the rest of this process plays out for Devin Neal. I think this is a guy that could shoot up draft boards. I'm calling my shot on that a little bit early. I believe in him. I believe in the player, and I do think that is going to be the case for him. If I'm wrong, hey, roast me in the comments. Let me know why you think I'm wrong, and I can take it. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I don't think I'm wrong in this guy. I believe in him. I see it. It fits. I see a very clear projection to the NFL, and I'm super, super excited to see where he ends up and how well he can do in his rookie season. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe. All that YouTube stuff really helps out a small channel like mine. More than anything, comments help the algorithm, gets this video out to more people. If you were interested in what I think about Devin Neal, if you have your own thoughts about Devin Neal or any other running back in this class, your team, where you think he fits, anything like that, let me know in the comments, and I try to respond to as many as I can. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.